What's up, everyone? It's Roger and Abe here from the DisKingdom podcast with another episode of the DisKingdom podcast. And this episode, we are going to be discussing the new Spider-Man Homecoming movie and the animated one. And Abe there was kind of moving along, almost like he knew exactly what I was going to say next.
It's like you do it. It's like you do it the same way every time.
It's all right. It's all right till I add to the phone at work. It's like, you're listening to the DisKingdom podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, geez.
So we got the new announcement for the new Spider-Man Homecoming movie, which is gonna be is it 2000? Is it next year or the year after? I can't remember when it is.
I believe it was 17. Yeah.
Yeah. And they also got the release of the new logo, and there was also a release of the animated logo as well. But this one kind of caught everyone off guard because that logo did not look anything like what anyone was expecting. You kind of got the homecoming with the Spider-Man symbol face in the home. Now, we had a little bit of a discussion about this when we first heard about this, because I think we had two very different kind of points of view. So I'm going to let you say yours first.
Well, first off, when I first saw it, I was like, I was like, what? But yeah, I had two thoughts. Obviously, one is homecoming. Now everybody knows, at least in the States, homecoming is a dance or even a big football game, an event at a high school. And it does kind of make sense because the Spider-Man is a high schooler. So it definitely kind of ties into that whole story. And even the logo, you can see like the Spider-Man little image thing kind of looks like one of those little disco glowing balls from a dance as well. So it makes sense. Another point that I was bringing across too is kind of like it's also the homecoming, meaning the welcoming of somebody to your home. So it's kind of like, well, welcome Spidey to the MCU. Welcome home. I mean, even though you're not home entirely, you're still here. You're with the MCU. Yeah. So that's why I feel like the title kind of makes sense. It works. And also I do like that they're straying away. They're trying to give itself their own identity, separating from the previous 5 films. That logo looks great. The logo kind of reminds me of, and I'm talking about just the Spider-Man part. The Homecoming, I'm still debating, but the Spider-Man part, it's just taking me back to like the old comics or even old video games per se. Yeah, it just looks like old school to me, in my opinion. But it's cool. I'm definitely intrigued. I'm not excited about the title, but I'm intrigued to see. But it kind of makes sense. So I don't know. What was your take?
Okay. So first off, the Spider-Man font, I have no problem with. It looks like it did like from whenever I was a kid. That does look like the Spider-Man font. I don't have any problem with it. Like Homecoming, right? As a non-American, it didn't make any. It was a bit like what Homecoming? What? Because we don't have homecoming dances at high school. We don't have homecoming football matches or anything. It doesn't mean anything over here. That word isn't used in day-to-day life. It's not part of our, like, it's
but
not
you guys
a word that
know
we
what
use.
It means, though.
But I know what it is because of seeing movies. But that is the only reference point we've got is, and kids and stuff. If you do, there's this kind of thing of, the homecoming dance from Back to the Future. That is literally, it's something from a movie. It doesn't have any context for international audience. And there's a big international audience. America's one part, the international kind of, I understand this thing of it being a high school thing, and I am wondering, and I'm going to be honest, it would not surprise me if this got an international rebranding down the line. It wouldn't surprise me if they put, we had Avengers Assemble because we'd already had the Avengers in this country. I wouldn't, Zootropolis. It wouldn't surprise me if this gets rebranded, if they start doing some feedback and some information in other countries, like in China. Again, this thing is not, in Australia, if you don't have a country where homecoming things don't happen, that title gets lost, and that's my biggest concern with it. Is it doesn't mean anything to the international audience, and that's a big part of a movie. Okay, you might be, oh, well, it's an American high school. I love the fact he's going back to high school. I love he's a kid. I love he's going to be a kid inside of this MCU. He's going back to what Spider-Man was. He's not, 20, a 40-year-old actor trying to play a college kid that looks like, he could be his dad. Yeah, I love the fact they're going back to being a kid, and he is getting some great reviews in Civil War. But that title is meaningless to, I think, a vast majority of the international audience.
Do you guys have dances in your high schools over there?
Literally, they started doing proms, but only in the they've only really started bringing them in the last sort of 10 years. They tried doing them when I was at school, but no one really wanted to go to it. It was an import from America because everyone saw Sweet 16 and wanted these prom parties at high school. It's not been part of our lifestyle. Now kids rent big limousines and do it.
So you guys have never had school dances or balls or nothing? Never had them?
Not really, no. It's a new phenomenon that's been imported from America, like Halloween and the rest of it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, if it's new and if it's relevant over there now, I guess you can call it Spider-Man School Dance. Boom, Marvel, pay me. Easy.
Yeah, Spider-Man prom. It's not. I mean, you had like school discos and stuff, but there was never this kind of, this whole thing. It's a really like a new thing of having school proms. It's only been around, 10 years or so. It's not. There's a huge audience, and it's gradually built, and the parents don't have that connection with it either because it's just some silly school dance. There isn't that massive thing that's been years and years and years of this thing with these proms and stuff. So Homecoming doesn't, and also you got to think in other nations and stuff. It's going to be interesting. It was a bit of an odd one. It's like the whole thing about it being a homecoming to Marvel. I don't think that is really the idea they were going for. I think that just happens to tie in with it. I think it is the high school is the main point.
They were going for either. I just feel like that's just a coincidence that it works. But it definitely has everything to do with the high school side of it. It definitely does. So.
Yeah. And I love that idea. I love the high school side of things. That's what Spider-Man is. He is a teenager. I always felt like Tobey Maguire and Andy Garfield, they looked too old when they were playing it. They were supposed to be at college, but they looked like they were way too old to be playing the part of Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire, he's at college and he's got a job. It's like he was in his 30s, mid-30s. And even Andrew Garfield, I'm not sure how old he was, but and even like Emma Stone, they did not look like they were at college. They just looked. I mean, you get that a lot in American movies anyway, where you're still trying to get 30-year-olds trying to play really young high school. It's just and I think when we see him in the Civil War, when he's up against that kid up against Tom Holland, when he's up against an older Cumberbatch or an older was it Robert Downey Jr., he's gonna look completely different, and I love that idea.
Yeah, it's true. No, it'll be interesting. Interesting title. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yes, it's definitely going to be, and I'm really excited to see Spider-Man in action. It's kind of quite funny because we're about 2 weeks away. The end of next week, Civil War's out, and literally the buzz again is just like picking up. Everyone saying about Spider-Man and stuff. Yeah, and we're not going to mention Batman versus Superman and how kind of the reaction seems to be very, very different. And it's all and the DC fans just blaming Marvel for it.
I wouldn't know. I didn't see it.
It's funny. My dad said to me yesterday because the local theater is now starting to do movies, but they were like a 6-week delay. So he goes, "Oh, Batman versus Superman's on at the cinema," and he goes, and I said to my mum, goes, "Well, I haven't really been." I actually said to my mum, I said, "Don't go see it." I said to my mum, I said, it's a 3+ hour movie. You are not going to understand any of it. You've never watched a Marvel or superheroes, I said, and they went, "What do you mean it's over 3?" I said, "It's over 3 hours long, and there is no." I said, "You're not going to understand any of it." And they were like, oh. I said, I just don't. They went and saw Finest Hours this week. My mum and dad haven't been to cinema, I think, since Titanic. And the new theatre opened 3 weeks ago, and they've been 3 times already because it's literally right across this. They literally only have to cross the road to go to it. They're like, oh, we can go to the cinema. It's like anything comes out, it's like, yeah. I said, don't go see Batman and Superman. I said, because my mum's gonna hate it because she doesn't watch anything superhero related. Just because it's in the cinema opposite, they go, oh, we'll go see it. I said, nah. I said, just save your money. Don't bother. But yeah, I think Civil War seems to be getting an entirely different kind of buzz. People talking about it being the best one, and and that's what people were excited about. And the idea we're going to see Spider-Man on the screen in 2 weeks. Can't wait for it. I think that's what's going to make Spider-Man Homecoming even bigger.
No, absolutely. Now, the question to you is, do you think that the story that we're going to see is going to be before these events in Civil War, or are they going to be right after?
I wouldn't be surprised if it is literally the same timing. They're literally around the same time, and he's just already established, and because they can't really go back and do an origin story after he's already appeared on the screen. It would just be he's back at school, Tony Stark turns up, kind of gives him a kind of hey, little wink, kind of I know who you are kind of thing, or here you are, that kind of thing. I don't think they'll be doing they're not doing an origin story. They don't need to do it. He got bit by a spider. That's it. Everyone knows it. They can do that in a quick montage like they did with the Incredible Hulk at the beginning, and that's all they need to do, really.
Yeah, yep, definitely true.
So no, I don't think it will be I don't think they'll be going back. I think they'll just kind of carry on from where it goes. I'm just kind of interested to see if Michael Keaton is going to be playing the Vulture, because I always loved the Vulture from the 90s TV series because he was a pretty badass villain of trying to steal sort of Peter Parker's youth and powers, and then eventually become the man's Spider Vulture.
Well, I mean, he has the Birdman going on, so he can definitely play a Vulture. So yeah.
Do you know what? We only lasted about 15, 20 minutes of that movie before we turned it off. My wife hated it. I'm just sitting there going,
it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's hey, what an Oscar. Turn it off. It's just we only lasted about 20 minutes into it. No, this isn't going to work. So no, I don't know what happened. I never even saw him in his outfit. So yeah,
it got better, but it was
yeah. Well, anyway, guys, we'd love to know your thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming. Comment below and get in touch with us on all usual ways you can do that. And as per usual, big thank you to Ethan over at sortofapps.com and Magic Band Collectors for helping us out again, being a sponsor. And you can find out more at patreon.com/DisKingdom. And we shall see you guys in a later episode. Laters.
Bye.